Okay, we're gonna wait just a couple of minutes for people to start trickling in. Not seeing a lot of participants quite yet. So we'll just go ahead and wait a little bit. Okay. Okay, we can go ahead and get started. We don't have a huge group today, but that's always okay. Um, for those of you who haven't attended these office hours before, we usually like to start them out just with a quick demo on some of the stuff that we've been working on here at Mindsmith. We do have an echo. Uh-oh, it's not good. Maybe give me one sec. I have no idea why that would be. Huh. Is there an echo now? Can you hear me? Are we good? Here, I'll allow people to speak. Okay, Jennifer, are you hearing an echo? Can you all hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. Am I echoey still?
Hear an echo. I don't hear an echo.
Oh, okay, cool. So we'll just go ahead and run with it. Um, what may be happening, I think Maggie sent that in the chat. Maggie, I'm seeing two versions of you on the Zoom webinar. So there could be another one pulled up somewhere else, which could be causing some sort of echo. Sorry, I was just seeing that in the Q&A chat. Okay, so we'll just steamroll ahead, and if yeah, we're having other audio difficulties, just let me know. Just unmute or in the chat. So yeah, so usually for these things, I like to start out with a demo on some of the stuff that we've been working on recently. We actually had a pretty big product announcement on Tuesday. There were a few things that we announced. Um, the first is the Mindsmith MCP. This is maybe the biggest thing that we announced on Tuesday. For those who don't know, MCP stands for Model Context Protocol, which is a fancy way of saying a connector between an AI and a software. So it's a way for, if you're using Claude internally, it's a way for Claude to communicate with Mindsmith. Or if you're using whatever, ChatGPT, Copilot. Unfortunately, Gemini actually doesn't support MCP yet, but everyone else does. So the general consensus is that it's just a matter of time before Gemini supports it. There is kind of a roundabout way to get your Gemini to support MCP, but it's annoying. So if you use Gemini, I'm sorry you can't yet use this system, but it's pretty exciting. Just a high level overview on what it is. The MCP, like I said, is a way for an AI to communicate with Mindsmith. Some of the tools that we've given it, though, are things like searching your entire library of content, running sub agents to make edits on your library of content, and it can also view your analytics within your lessons and courses. So some of my favorite use cases, I actually posted this on LinkedIn the other day. Some of my favorite use cases, one is updating and managing content. So it's sort of an AI native content management system. For example, if I need to update the name of our CEO, I may have to go through hundreds of lessons to find all the places where the CEO's name is mentioned and find it and replace it. Or if I need to update like an asset, like their picture, same thing. I have to go through and find, all of those assets and update them. But with the MCP, you could say, hey, Mindsmith, I need to update the name of our CEO. I need you to find everywhere in my library where the old name of the CEO is mentioned and replace it with the new CEO, and also find all of the old pictures of the CEO and replace them with this new picture. And then Mindsmith will search through your content, and then it will run sub agents to go and it'll search through your content, and then it'll say, hey, I've identified these whatever 40 places. Do you want me to go out and make the changes? And then it'll go through and make those changes. And for those who use dynamic SCORM, that's even more exciting because those changes are automatically reflected in your LMS, wherever that SCORM package sits. So very exciting for updating and managing content. The MCP also allows you to use Mindsmith within any agents that you create. So for example, you could create an agent, maybe you're managing product training. Maybe you create an agent that is monitoring your product help center. Maybe your help center has an API. And every week, the agent goes to your help center and says, okay, what changed through the last week? And what changed through the last week? Okay, these whatever 6 things. And then you could say, after you've identified those changes, go through my Mindsmith content and identify what we should update based on those changes. And so you can create this more agentic system that's updating automatically, or of course it can propose changes and then you can approve those changes and then republish the SCORM package if you'd like. So that's really exciting. The other one is the MCP also has access to all of your analytics across all of your projects. So you may ask it, hey, I want to see like which learning objectives people are struggling on, and I want to see which analytics are correlated with those learning objectives. And so the MCP will search through your analytics and it'll say, okay, it seems like people are really underperforming on assessment questions on the ADDIE model. And do you want me to go and change? And it seems like maybe they're struggling in this particular content area. Do you want me to go and make that update? And then it can go through and make those updates and changes. It can also create content. So not only updating, changing content, editing, but it can also create content. So if you need it to dynamically give you a first draft based on a change in some standard somewhere, then you can create an agent that does that. So anyway, the MCP is an exciting step toward more agentically managed creation and editing of e-learning content. So that's something we released this week. Another of there are kind of 2 other cool things we released. The other one is our first version of the Mindsmith Storyline importer. So for our customers switching over from Storyline, it's a huge headache basically because Storyline kind of supports this blank canvas, but Mindsmith is more of a like what you would consider like plug and play version of creating e-learning content. So the Storyline importer uses AI to read through the SCORM file from Storyline and then import it into the best match versions of Mindsmith. It also has access to the custom code tile, which is exciting. So it can, I don't think it can do this quite yet, but it will be able to take some of the more custom things that it doesn't think match one of our tiles and create its own custom tile using code. So that's kind of our first step into helping our customers transition over from Storyline. So that's exciting. The other one that we released, I think this is still in beta. But we did release the beta. Here, let me jump into Mindsmith here and I can show you. The other one is libraries of content. So libraries of assets. So having having Mindsmith search through some of your existing assets. So some of these things that you can attach, of course, a file. I don't think we've talked about reference lessons. This is something we released last week, which for those who don't know, we were traveling in London last week, so we weren't able to do these office hours, so we skipped a week. But yeah, so you can create a library. You can upload images, so image assets to your library that Mindsmith can search through. So instead of generating them with AI or pulling from us Unsplash. Now it can pull from your existing assets. Same thing with videos and documents. So you can give it access to this library of content. Um, it's actually maybe worth talking about this one really quickly. Reference lessons. So reference lessons function similarly to files, except that Mindsmith is referencing an existing lesson. So you could upload a lesson, you could, choose to look at this one, and you could say, hey, for this reference lesson, I want you to follow the structure. I want to treat it like a template in terms of structure, but obviously change all the content because the content is going to be totally new. Or you could upload 3 different reference lessons and you can say, hey, these are, I'm kind of creating more of a learning path. Maybe you're not creating a course, but it's like a learning path. And you may say, here are like 3 things that I've already taught in this learning path. So as you're generating this next step in the learning path, I want you to take into consideration what we've already taught. And so you can upload these reference lessons for it to look at. Um, or you could say like, hey, I want you to do knowledge checks on the old stuff so that we are kind of tracking that people are maintaining, uh, retaining knowledge on a certain concept. So anyway, reference lessons are also exciting. Um, okay, so those are some things that we've built recently and released, some in beta, some general access. Um, Another thing, by the way, that well, actually, I won't announce it yet. We'll probably do it next week in our in the office hours, maybe, or in 2 weeks. I'm not sure. I'm already seeing some questions from the stuff that I just showed. Some anonymous attendee asks if the reference lessons also continue the learning for a series. So they can. The point of a reference lesson is that the AI is looking at it, and then you can tell the AI what it should do with that reference lesson. And you could actually create a skill around these reference lessons that you're uploading. So you may create one skill for continuing a learning series or a learning path. You may create a separate skill for, using a lesson as a template, a structure template, and you may create a third skill for using reference lessons as content templates. So maybe like you have off-the-shelf content and you're saying, okay, this is my reference lesson. I've uploaded it from some content library that I have as a SCORM file, and now we convert it into Mindsmith content. And I want to use this as the basis of the content, but I want to customize it to my organization. So kind of get that last 25% customization. So the point is that it's flexible, and reference lessons sort of acts as a document. Okay, Jennifer is asking, when you say it will find the best match to storyline, will the content look like storyline? So, not quite yet. Um, right now it would look like Mindsmith. There are some exciting things that we're doing if we want it to look more like Storyline. So we'll have sort of a vibe coding tile within Mindsmith. That essentially the idea is that like anything you would represent in Storyline, you can also represent as code. So we'd represent it as code in Mindsmith, but also be able to track all of the events and interactions. And it would also pull from Mindsmith existing assets. So if it needs to create a button, it would make a button that looks like the Mindsmith button so that these custom learning experiences look consistent across your e-learning. So that's sort of the idea. Right now, again, it's version 1. It's, I would say, alpha still, the storyline importer. And so right now it's just going to find the best way for to get it into Mindsmith. So those are answers to those questions. Okay, so I'm thinking we just jump right into questions. So if people have questions that they've been wanting to ask, happy to answer those and help out. So feel free to raise your hand. So just at the very bottom, there's the raise hand button. Or if you prefer to just type, you can type into the Q&A chat at the bottom as well. So I'll open it up. Feel free. Okay, question in the chat. What advice or best practices can you share to get an exact replica with the text as entered for content creation? If you're talking about importing from a document, I can show you. So there are two skills that we've actually built that will be helpful. The first is convert a document. So this skill is the idea is that it's keeping the text the same from your document, but gives the AI a little bit of flexibility on how that content is presented. So it's saying do not add, rewrite, or embellish any content, maintain the document structure and ordering. If the document has sections or heading, use them as page breaks. So that's convert a document. It will keep the content the same, but it will get it into Mindsmith and it has a little bit of flexibility on presentation. The other option, a skill that we've created is verbatim. So verbatim will only use text, image, list, and table. So it will only copy and paste from your content as text or images, basically. So it has no flexibility on interactive tiles, quizzes, assessments, whatever. It won't use experience, it won't use videos, it won't use any advanced tile types. So that's verbatim, which is a little bit more strict. If you need something in between those, then you would create a skill, and then you would just tag that skill. As you're creating content, you'd upload your document, and you would say, "Hey, use the convert document skill for my PDF that I'm uploading." So that's what I would recommend if you want an exact replica with the text. Super helpful. Thanks. Sweet. Okay. What other questions? Any other questions I can help out with? Okay, another question in the chat. Can you demo a storyline conversion for us? I have not tested this out yet. I don't even have a storyline file on my computer. So maybe that's something we do next week. I'll put that on the docket for next week. Sorry about that, Michelle or Megan. Um, that does feel like something I should have come prepared to do, but but yeah, maybe not today. I would recommend. Well, we'll have to add you to the beta. Shoot me an email, just ethan@mindsmith.ai, if you want to be added to that beta, um, and we can give you access to it. You can try around. Can you share a best practice checklist for direction and creating skills? Yeah, I can provide some insight there. So creating skills are really just giving the AI a way to accomplish a task. And that task can be anything in the process of creating content. So it may be interpreting a document, but it may also be like how to create a storyboard. Or you may create a skill that says, hey, run any learning objectives by me before you generate the storyboard. Or you may create a skill around how you like to structure content, or a skill around how the AI should generate images. Um, so there are a lot of different things that you can create skills on. I would, if I were you, check out some of the skills that we've built. We just recently added the ability to view the prompt behind these pre-written skills. So you can see, okay, the micro learning skill is going to be a maximum of one to two titles per page. Each page is going to take no more than 20 seconds. Use short focused text. It's going to break complex problems into many small pages rather than dense ones. Um, Video content is this one. I'm not sure what this is. There must be something happened and changed in the background. Yeah, they used to have a lot more context. And this must be something that we moved to the background. These sub skills, designing video experiences. But yeah, I would take a look at these skills that we've built, which are basically just bullet points. The other thing you can do, this is kind of interesting, at the end of like a chat with the AI, you could say, "Hey, I liked how we did X, Y, and Z. Can you generate the text for a skill that I should upload into Mindsmith? And then it would generate that text, and then you create the skill, give it a name, a description, and then you put that text here in the prompt. So Mindsmith, the agent, also knows what skills are, and it can help you design your skills. Sometimes skills they do have a mind of their own. I think what had happened is our dev team made background skills for certain tasks. Like video to simulation is one that requires a lot of like technical jargon of like telling the AI exactly like how to interpret these different moments in a video. Um, and so we just created a background skill that tells the AI, hey, reference this background skill. So that's what happened on those two. It was just a change between like 2 days ago and today. And so I was like, wait, what's going on? But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what was happening in the background. Okay. So that's a little bit on skills. Skills are really the way to get Mindsmith to be better suited for you over time. So for those of you, if you've ever used Claude, it's the same architecture as like a Claude skill, where it's really just telling the AI, hey, we want to accomplish this certain task. And there are certain ways to think about it, both from a structure perspective and from a like general writing or creating perspective. And so you can build these skills and then share them with Mindsmith, and Mindsmith will grab them as it thinks they are relevant, or you can tag them directly to say, hey, make sure that you're using this skill. Okay. What other questions? Okay. I think we're keeping it short and sweet today. If you do have further questions, feel free to shoot us an email. You can email support@mindsmith.ai. You can chat with us in the live chat on the bottom right when you're creating content. Or you can shoot me an email.